So, let's start with something simple. Valve just dropped a brand new VR headset, and on paper it's everything you expected from Valve. And honestly, I like what Valve is doing. I want VR to grow, I want the technology to get better. But there is one huge problem with VR itself I cannot ignore. Actually, it's few problems, but they're all connected. There is still no games to play. Not the big ones, not the system sellers, not the titles that make normal people say, yeah, I really want VR in my life. And here's where the things get strange, because on one hand, Valve Frame is an impressive machine, but on the other hand, it's still another monitor strapped on your face, waiting for the future library of games that, let's be honest, still hasn't arrived. So let's talk about it. The VR industry loves announcing hardware. Headsets keep coming out like clockwork. Higher resolution, lighter weight, better lenses, better pass-through, more tracking. Every year we get a new device promising the next step to immersive gaming. But when you look at the game shelf, the next step isn't there. I remember the first Oculus Rift launch like it was yesterday. I bought the original development kit DK2 because back then VR was the future. The promise wasn't just the new hardware, it was the idea: build the machine and the games will follow. Well, we were building the machine for 12 years now. Original development kit, or DK1, what year was that? 2012? Yeah, I think so. 2012 for DK1, then 2014 for DK2, and then 2016 for the consumer version. So depending on where you start counting from, it's been 12 years since the VR revolution began. And we're still waiting for the promised flood of games. But here's the thing. VR itself in design is designed to be played from first perspective. So basically all the games that are from first perspective can be turned into VR games, right? But here's the thing. There isn't many games that use first-person perspective as a default camera. And the ones that do usually have another problem: motion sickness. To design a game that bypasses the congenital problem of moving a camera from first perspective and not making a person, a consumer, sick is a great feat to do. So automatically a lot of developers just don't do that. Yes, of course you can play any other game in VR that uses other camera orientation, but let's not forget that this is a screen that is mounted on your face, and most likely you won't gonna spend hours and hours of using that thing just to have a bigger screen in virtual reality. And maybe you will. Who am I to tell you what to do? And most likely you are gonna be that guy who's gonna buy Valve Frame on the day it's going to be released. And good for you. But I'm talking about ordinary person, ordinary consumer, who's gonna look at this device and say, what am I going to use it for? Watching movies? Maybe. But can I really spend 2 hours watching movie with that thing strapped on my head? Only time will tell. So basically it's a circle. Not a lot of games can be turned into specific VR games. Those who can be turned needs a lot of development, so the developers automatically stay away from it. Because problems like motion sickness, controlling your character, or HUD elements, or even interacting with the world is really big problems that developers needs to solve. So what exactly is Valve Frame? It's Valve's newest standalone VR headset built around their Descartes concept that has been floating around for years. And in typical Valve fashion, they didn't cut corners. You get a high resolution LCD display with really high refresh rate. It's basically a computer on your face. For VR tech fans, all of this is great. This is progress. This is what we want to see in new headsets. And here's the twist. None of this is the problem. The problem is that it doesn't change the situation for the ordinary consumer who already bought 1 or 2 headsets in the last decade. Because if you already own Quest 2, Quest 3 or even an old Index, the Valve frame doesn't magically give you new content. It doesn't make new games appear. It doesn't suddenly create a VR library that will keep you busy for months. What it actually does, it gives you a better screen to play the same games you already played, a better monitor on your face. Everyone who has already bought the VR headset knows this feeling. You get hyped, it arrives, you play a few days and then the headset goes into the drawer or closet to collect dust. And the Valve frame might fall into the same exact cycle unless something changes on the software side. And Valve right now actually going to the right direction with its Proton compatibility layer. But only time will tell how good this is. But right now, for the regular person, someone who isn't deep into VR, isn't a developer, isn't living on a VR chat, there's simply no reason to buy another high-end headset. Valve frame is powerful, but what exactly are you supposed to do with it? Play Alex again? Play Beat Saber for the 100th time? Try indie experiments for the 15 minutes and never launch them again? Launch mods and tech demos that feel like prototypes? Everyone gets excited about another futuristic headset. People talk about resolution, brightness, legacy, comfort, pass-through, but at the end of the day, the experience is still missing that thing that sells platforms, software. The truth is simple. We don't need more machines that can run games. We need more games to be run. And I have no idea how the VR developers going to resolve all the issues that VR actually has. So for now, I'm still happy Valve is still investing. I'm glad they're not abandoning VR like so many others, but until the software catches up, until we get more than tech demos and rhythm games, the Valve frame is still another reminder of the same old story. We keep getting better devices, but we're still waiting for the games that make them matter. So do you agree with me or disagree? Feel free leave a comment below and have a discussion with me. Thanks for watching.